In chess, one of the most important things to get right is the opening. Have you ever felt that there's just too much to learn in chess? Well, I'm going to take the opening phase, something that is difficult, and then make it easier for you in this video. So, this video will be about the Catalan defense from the black side. So the first question is, what is the Catalan? Well, it is one of the best openings from the white side, so I'm going to show you how to counter it with black. I'm going to show you two creative inventions, something I've come up with, and I want you to use it in your own game. So, from the top, d4, d5, c4, e6. Knight c3, a6 is the Magnus Carlsen Queen's Gambit declined. I will show you that at the end. Knight f3, knight f6, and now g3. This is the Catalan. Bishop to g2 coming soon. My recommendation is bishop b4 check. There are a few ways for white to block. Bishop d2, knight c3. In part 1 of the video, we will look at knight c3 next chapter. So from the top again, repetition leads to acquisition, which means you keep repeating something, you will understand it fully. Bishop b4 check. Knight c3 is one way to block. And after castle, I'm going to show you a mistake by white. In these kind of positions, white is not meant to be releasing the tension. Take. Already, this is a blunder, I think. Because after taking, then the rook can come in the game. And really, that Catalan bishop is rubbish. This is going to be a theme throughout this video. And in this position, there are so many arrows. Let me explain everyone. Look at the green one. Dun, dun, dun. Let me remove a few things once I've said it. The green one, the circles, the arrow shows defense in the center. a5, a4, I'll show you later. The blue arrow means the bishop can come out to f5 or g4, and the knight can reroute to the other side. So already so many possibilities. Let me show all of that in green because I am aware this is a complete mess. Get space here, drop the bishop back, the knight can come round, the bishop can go here, and the rook already has a great square. Central control as well. So there's so many ways to look at this position. Next chapter. So from the top, after castle, bishop g2, and now we can grab the pawn. So remember this theme in the Catalan. Sometimes we have the chance to grab this pawn. a3 is the really famous game from 2 years ago between Magnus Carlsen and Carlsen-Niemann cheating allegations at St. Louis Sinquefield Cup. Pawn to a3. But first, I want to show you this, because this is one reason I was thinking, well, hang on, this is actually a normal good move in the Catalan defense. The bishop opens up. And then, if this happens, then white has a great position, because this bishop is much stronger than this. Black can now put pressure on this knight. That's why this bishop is here. Knight d5. Good move. Hitting the knight. If white blocks, then you can rotate the knight, and this is a really cool journey. The knight rotates to defend on c4. And then black still puts pressure. Now here's a cool variation. What if they defend with the queen? Now we can take. And then really cool move. Brilliant move by black using the pin. Queen d4. Everything is under attack. That pawn and the knight as well. If bishop b2, really cool move. Maintain the pin. And then the queen still attacks the knight on d5. Black is winning. Next chapter. From the top again, this is something for us to avoid. Early knight e5. So here, after take, castle. Now, I was just thinking c5, because can you see black has double pawns? A good strategy is when you have double pawns, you want to undouble them. So pawn to c5 is very strong. Also, I thought, but now after take, well, this knight e5 move is coming, and I really hate this endgame for black. So not only am I showing you what you should do, but also what you shouldn't do. Here, take, knight e5. Yeah, lots of possibilities, really difficult to play. The knight is very strong. The blue bishop. Think of the Catalan bishop on g2 against this one on c8. It is just much stronger. And then the red one, bishop can come to f4. So many ways for white to handle this position. So this is no good. Now I'm going to go back to a chapter because I forgot to talk to you about this one. After take, a3 is actually the critical move. Because if the bishop goes back, then we can find a way, well, white can find a way to get the pawn back, and then this Catalan bishop is open. So really here you need to take, and then knight e5. If that is white's next move, then this is very strong. Now we can strike. Now I want you to undouble, because there's, well, we're a move ahead, you could say, because white has wasted this move on a3. If this capture happens, the queens come off, and absolutely fine for black. The knight can sit on e4 attacking all these pawns. The knight can go to a6, rook d8 check as well. Let's go back one move, and if they castle, then Knight c6 was played in a game between Carlsen and Niemann. I know I mentioned it 2 minutes ago, but I want to recommend this. Bishop d7. I really like this creative journey. Normal journey for black in the Catalan. If they put the knight in the center, then we still go here. That's the thing. Who cares about these double pawns? But guess what? Who cares about the triple pawns? If this capture happens, then this is absolutely fine. Central tension, you can take on d4. The blue arrow, the queen can go to d5, a5, and then a rook can go to a central file. We are good. What was one other key moment? Oh yeah, this one. Take knight e5. If they play this early one, knight d5. And then if take, that's an absolutely dreadful move. I'll say it's a blunder. You give up your Catalan bishop, take. And then black is absolutely fine. Your upper pawn, you're going to kick that knight away. And then you've got your Catalan bishop, really. Next chapter. Next. We've covered this. Right, brilliant looking position. Let me explain everything. So repetition leads to acquisition. You will remember this very soon. Check. Bishop d2, that is the main line. So from now on, we are going through this main line. Bishop d2, drop it back. Because we are misplacing the bishop. Or else you might be thinking Williams just wasted a move. Castle, castle, and now this is my first creative invention. Lots of arrows here, but the one I want to focus on is the blue one. Pawn to a5, getting space. Knight e4, knight c6. That is a move to remember because the knight can come to b4. Right, queen c2, the most normal move in the Catalan. Now, a4, push. Here, a few responses. That's the worst response because you can just take. And then the rooks face off, and then really we have some isolated pawn for white. Knight c6, and then lots of squares. Lots of squares belong to black, but really that pawn is awful. Let's go back a few moves. Your opponent should not play that. Another option, maybe they go knight c3. Then, now we can get space. This is my favorite variation. That's what you saw in the chapter. a3 getting space, and if they take, we can take with the bishop or the rook, but if they go b3, now that square belongs to black. I love this line. Knight c6, this is my creative invention, the first one. The blue arrow shows we get space, but now knight c6. You see, normally in the Catalan we get the pawn in, but I just want to be a bit creative. I want to go knight c6 first. Knight b4 is now a really strong outpost. By the way, you can't do this because then the center pawn falls. You see, you need that knight to defend your d4. Knight b5 might be possible, but still we go knight b4. Now that knight looks very dangerous, so they might come off. And now here. It looks like white's putting pressure, but I want to show you an absolutely stunning move. Absolutely stunning. You can play the normal one, but c6 is absolutely brilliant if take. It looks like black can't play this move because a capture can happen. Now you play this move, queen a5. Very active play. I love sacrificing a pawn in this fashion to get active move. Now queen d3 is the best move here. Queen d3 is one option, but if take, then bishop takes, and really, that's the cool thing. That knight is actually trapped. If here, then the bishop goes to a6. Good. And if we go back to this moment, you can play the normal move, and now e4. It looks like white's position is fantastic, attacking the knight, and then putting pressure here, rook a5. Counter-attack. Counter-attack, queen c4, bishop d7 is possible. Hitting. You are counter-attacking again, and if take, then really I love the way that this position is just working really well for black. The two bishops control so many squares, and this really creative rook journey. Why do I love this? Because I'm just trying to make this useful. That's my creative invention for this video. Next chapter. Alright, from the top again, here we go. So all the same thing, we're going to throw in a check, we're going to drop the bishop back, and now we castle. Queen c2 again. a5 first, and now let's look at knight c3 first, then we go queen c2. So they put pressure in the center, that's fine. Now, couple responses. If we go dc4, it's not really the best because now queen a4. That annoys me a lot. Or does it? Maybe queen a4 after this. c6, this is one way to handle this. Take, and now b5. Maybe there's some counterplay. So the green arrow shows bishop comes to a6. Look out for this option in your own games. Bishop to a6, b4. Knight can go to d7, and you can see c5. We just try to open up the position. So that's one option. Right, let's go back a bit. Now, what's another choice? Well, let's look at queen c2 again. Oh yeah, a4 is also the worst. No, sorry, queen c2. And now, early knight e4. Yes, let's do that. Early knight e4, hitting the bishop. Couple responses. They might move the bishop, or they go knight c3. Let's look at bishop f4 first. And now I want to show you my second creative invention, dropping the knight back, because I just want to put pressure here. Knight d2 I'll cover very soon, but if they go c5, locking it up, then knight f5, I'm already loving the kind of pressure that black is putting on the position. If rook d1, then we put even more pressure. And if white blunders, then g5 traps the bishop. It's a really cool line that I came up with. So really, this kind of position, you can't save the bishop. It is trapped. Good. At the same time, I'm just playing really creative knight jumps and then putting pressure in the white center and trapping the bishop. So in this moment, after knight c6, let's have a look. Maybe white needs to play a waiting move. I think knight c3 is pretty good. And then here, g5, g4. Oh yeah, by the way, if knight c3, g5, hit. And if it goes back, g4. That's the skill. That's the crux and important feature. You attack the knight, and then there's pressure here, even though the rook is the only thing defending. Something like this. We are now up a pawn. Good. Let's go back a few moves here. Let's go back a few. Just want to make sure I covered everything. Queen c2, one more line. Knight e4. And now bishop f4, knight here. And what if knight d2? That's the flexible approach. And now knight c6. Looks very strange, doesn't it? But I'm just trying to make it creative. This pawn launch combining with this control of the b4 square. Knight c6. Take is what I'm looking forward to. Central tension is gone. And the Catalan bishop is trapped. Good. Next chapter. Queen c2. Knight e4. Now I've covered bishop f4 already. So what if they go knight c3? Well, they're challenging our center. So now we can grab this bishop. And then we can go c6. You see, if here, then knight e5. Now the Catalan bishop is open. This is something I keep talking about. So this time, let's just keep the tension with c6. Knight c6, I don't know if I love that one. Because now maybe a3. Or, well, queen d3, e4 really, with a3. So I don't love that. So here, you see, you can't go there if a3 is possible. So let's go c6 here. And then a few choices. If they take, then this is a terrible move. Take, and then it's always about this structure. Getting that pawn structure means you're healthy, you're safe, and that launch you can try later. Maybe not in these kind of positions because the knight is there. Okay, so let's go back a few. I've almost covered everything. Good stuff. Knight c3. Take, take, and now c6. Knight e5. Doesn't matter. f6. We just kick it away. They can maintain the center, and now knight d7. Okay. Looking forward to this. If not, the knight can come here. Even this f5. You see, f5 is not too bad. You see, go Dutch. I don't really mind. 1, 2. I don't mind which way, which direction you go. Good stuff. Right. Next chapter. One more. From the top again. We're done. Check. Back. Castle. a5. Get space. Queen here. Knight e4. Hit the bishop. Bishop f4. And now knight d6. Remember this cool journey. And now how about if they defend? Yeah, let's say they defend because this is normal Catalan move. Just keeping the tension. Take, take. This is really, really good for white. So here we need to keep the tension as well. We need to not trade, I mean, knight c6. Making use of this. Making use of the control of a5. Here. Bad move. a3. Looks like a good move anyway to stop the knight coming in. Now knight f5. And this is a diagram I saw before. Knight putting pressure in the center. You've got control here. And g5 is about misplacing that bishop. Take, take. I'm always looking forward to this. And here, if they play e3, blunder, g5. Look out for this trap. So easy to fall for this trap. And you see, all the black's moves are good anyway. So trap or no trap, you're still going to get a good position. That's the kind of chess I want to play. And here was a cool move. They might actually resolve the tension. See, rook d1, how about that? Probably g5. Fantastic. You see, I'm learning as well. g5, the bishop moves, and then g4. Something like this. I know that's an ugly move, but now g4. Why does white need to play this ugly move? Because you need to defend your center. Ugly move, and now I don't mind. You can actually take, and then I love this transition where the bishop now comes in. Bishop, so much central control. Even f5 here. Even f5, holding the position, and then even keeping it solid, something like this. White is putting pressure, so you can put pressure. You can defend the center, I mean, and we are good. I really like this kind of position. Next. Knight d2, one more, and we're done. Knight c6, putting pressure in the center, e3, and then knight b4, hop. Use this chance, because the queen is on c2, which it normally is in the Catalan. The knight can move away, And now we can play maybe g5 is possible, or take even c6 is probably okay. Alright, let me go back here, just want to make sure. Yeah, knight b4, if queen c1, then there's that chance good. Knight d3 hit both. Getting rid of that bishop, and then we're okay, c6. And always look forward to this capture. If c5, you can just drop the knight here. Ah, there's another option available. Brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. That is the Catalan from the black side. Top left corner, Master. The Queen's Gambit, just like Magnus Carlsen, 560 views. If you guys want to stick around, this is a perfect video to continue from what I mentioned at the start. Knight c3, a6, and bottom left corner, turning the London system against itself, 467 views. Both videos released recently, growing on this channel in order to help you get better with black openings. Thank you so much for watching.